Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about, I'm getting ready to go on a trip to Manila. I'm going to claim citizenship for my son who was born about 5 months ago. He's already a Filipino citizen because his mom is a citizen of the Philippines, but I have to actually go and claim his U.S. citizenship on his behalf as his father because I'm a man and it doesn't happen automatically. So in this video I'm going to talk about the process, and then I'll show you, if I'm able to, outside the embassy in Manila, and then I'll end the video after we get done with the interview and tell you how it went, and hopefully it's a success. Under American law, we basically have two ways to acquire citizenship. One of them is birthright citizenship, and we also have citizenship by naturalization. So birthright citizenship happens in one of two ways. One is under the Civil War amendments to the Constitution, that if you're born on U.S. soil, you're automatically, unless you're the kid of a diplomat, you're automatically a U.S. citizen. But if you are born abroad to a U.S. citizen parent, depending on if it's the mother or the father, in my case it's the father, then you have to have that citizenship claimed for you. And in most cases, that citizenship has to be claimed before your 18th birthday. In my case, I'm married, so it is presumed when we go there that the child was born in wedlock, and that I have to prove certain things in order to acquire that citizenship. So I'm going to have to show gestational records to show that we were in the prenatal care records. We have to show records showing that we were actually in the same city and same country. The approximate time that conception had, yes, they actually do ask for that stuff, and that will be asked for at the interview. And I have to show that I am a U.S. citizen. I have to show that I was legally married to his mother, through certificates and so forth. I also have to then show that if you have any prior divorces as a man, that those were terminated legally in whatever country they were terminated in. In addition to that, because I'm a male, and it's actually been transmitted onto females too, due to a court decision back in, I believe it was 2017, but I have to show that I lived inside the United States, because of my age, for at least 5 years prior to him being born. And I have to do that through records, affidavits. I've collected affidavits from my parents, through my sister, one of my sisters, my oldest sister. I have gotten records of my law school, showing that I attended in the United States. I've got records of my undergraduate in the United States, and I've got my master's degree records in the United States to prove that I went to school all of those years, and that I was physically present in the United States. So that's the requirements that you got to have. It's pretty onerous in some ways. Getting his Philippine citizenship was easy. Just show that his mom was a Filipino, that we were married, and he was born here, and boom, it was done. So I'm going to go to the embassy, and the next time you see me, I should have already been in Manila for several days, and the interview will have already been concluded. Stick around, you'll see what happens. So I've got to go into the embassy, this building right here, to do the interview for the citizenship and to get the passport for my son. Can't take any cameras or phones or anything to the embassy, so I've got to leave them all back in the hotel room. So after I get all that filmed, we'll come back and I'll tell you what happened. All right, so got back from the embassy. I'm here at the pool, which it's kind of dark outside, but hopefully this makes, even though it's a little dark, a little bit better of a backdrop. You can hear the city in the background. I wanted to give my observations. So my son, his citizenship was approved. We got his passport pending and will be coming to us. But I wanted to let you know about the whole embassy experience. I've been an immigration lawyer for coming up on 2 decades, and I very rarely get to see the consulate side of the equation. All of my stuff is done in the office, the preparation beforehand or the aftermath after things have already occurred. So I thought it might be beneficial just to kind of give you a bird's eye perspective of what happened. So we got to the U.S. Embassy, and we got there about 6:30. Our interview appointment was at 7:15. And I guess the best way to describe what's going on is there's organized chaos. So the vast majority of people that are at the embassy are Filipino nationals who are applying for tourist visas or fiancé visas or I-130 family-based visas for parents or adult children or so forth. So tons of those folks, and then a few Americans who were there with getting their children established, or they were getting passports renewed or other citizenship services. Very, very few of those. I'd say maybe a dozen when we got there, so not a lot. So when we first got there, we inquired with the guard because there was a huge long line, and they explained to us that we needed to wait. And so we did that for a little bit, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, I can wait patiently, which I would if I was at a Philippines government office. But then it occurred to me I'm an American, and I'm at an American government office, and I really don't care if I wait. So the big rule is going to be I'll ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Went straight up, told them who I was there with. They let me in, no questions asked, so I wasn't going to wait in line. And turns out we didn't need to. I think the person was confused about what we were there for when it was explained to him by my wife. So got in, that worked out smooth, but before we got to that point, I got to make a lot of observations in the 10 or 15 minutes that we were waiting, and there are a ton of these like fixers out front who are taking photographs of people's passports and things. They've obviously prepped them in order to help them get their immigration stuff. They're not American lawyers. They don't work for American law firms. And some of the questions that I got answered was kind of interesting because people hire fixers there locally, or they hire American non-attorneys, but they're like passport services. And it was shocking to me the amount of money these people spend on these passport services, who apparently, I looked on their websites, the ones they told me about afterwards, like work with attorneys. And of course it costs extra to talk to one, hundreds of dollars extra, but they're actually charging more for their services than an American law firm would to do a fiancé visa or a marriage visa. It's just hundreds of dollars more than you would actually pay a real lawyer to do. And don't know how they get away with that. I guess they're really good at marketing, or everybody's afraid to call an attorney and just find out what the cost is, because literally they could have saved $400 or $500 with basically any immigration lawyer that I know that does immigration law on the front end. Absolutely could have. So there's one observation. I mean, for instance, the one person I talked to there, they were charging $400 more than what my law firm charges as an attorney to do these. Insane. And they're not a lawyer. They're not, they had some lawyer fill out a form for them, and then they're going off of a script. It's insane. So anyway, once we got in, was very smooth. I will say this for the embassy. One, this is a huge complex, this American embassy complex, this consulate, and they were telling people up front that the security guards kept coming out trying to stop every Filipino on the planet from taking pictures of themselves, selfies at the embassy over and over and over again, because you're not allowed to have electronic devices inside, or phones or anything else. I think some of the fixers were holding them for them until they came back out. But anyway, so we got in, the security staff, the embassy staff, the consular, everybody was extremely nice, extremely helpful. I don't have anything negative to say about anybody who works at the embassy. I thought it went very smooth with us, and from what I could tell with other people on the first floor who were the immigrants, seemed to go very steadily. It was very organized. It was just going. It was moving. Things were moving, which was good to see. Not so good usually with the U.S. government, but in this case, and again, the State Department usually is very good. It's one of the few agencies that somehow manages to actually do its primary function. That being said, the one hiccup that was there is all of these Americans were going in, and they're having to pay for passports, $160, $200, whatever, for their services, and they're whipping out their credit cards. Same with me. And you're going to pay with your credit card, and so what happens is you're getting this hit on your credit card, and it's coming from an embassy. I guess they were charged in Filipino pesos, I don't know. And so it's flagging the credit card, and it's coming up with a fraudulent transaction, and it's sending you a text message out so that you can verify this. And of course, nobody's getting their texts because nobody's allowed to have their phones in the embassy. And so I sat there and watched it over and over and over again. They're sending people across the street to ATMs to get cash because they can't confirm that this is a true transaction because they can't have their phones in. I was shocked. My wife actually had enough cash to take care of it, so we didn't have to go through that hassle. But that is a lesson that there's a good chance, in fact, 0 people that I saw going through whose credit cards worked at all going through the embassy. So keep that in mind if you ever have to do it. We got that, told us it would be about a month to get the certificate of report of birth from abroad. Pretty quick. I'm impressed with that time frame if it comes out. But overall, that was my experience. I guess what I would say is, again, the credit card thing, be aware of that. But 2, make sure if you're an American seeking citizenship services and you're not an immigrant seeking immigration or tourist visas or stuff like that, just go straight up to the front and ask, because more than likely there's going to be very few people or a handful that are seeking citizenship services, and they'll probably move you straight through as long as you're there within an hour of your appointment, because that was basically what was going on. Second thing is, my God, I don't know why people are using non-lawyers and paying more money for it. Find a competent lawyer who does immigration services, not somebody who does one every once in a blue moon, but actually does them. You'll save money, and it just makes a heck of a lot more sense. All right, so overall, that's it. We're done with that. We passed the interview, and I guess we will see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this, make sure you give it a likes up so it tells the algorithm that other people might be interested in this content, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed if you ever want to see anything from this channel again. All right, thanks. See y'all in the next one, gang.
When I'm sleeping with someone new, I just close my eyes and think